cappuccinos, but Thai farmers now produce some of the world's most expensive coffee using beans processed in a very unusual way. Our reporter Satomi Asa went to savor the flavor.
This paper is entitled.
Okay, so that's what I do at NHK. I'm in the studio and I just read the script, and then sometimes there's a special report, etc. But with NHK, I don't need to rely on somebody to scroll the prompter for me. The technology is just amazing at NHK, but then they're Japanese, they're very advanced with their IT, right? So here is my news desk, and up there, attached to the ceiling, is a camera. The camera is pointed down. So anything that I place on the table, okay, will show up on the monitor in front of me. So therefore, my script is there, I can move it. I'm done with this page, I slide it away, and then the next script comes up, the next page comes up. It's fascinating. So you don't have to worry about somebody manning the prompter, okay? It's you manning it, and you control your own speed, where you are, etc. So it's very cool like that. Yes? But when I am outside, there's so many other factors that come into play and that will give you a headache or cause you to stress. I do use the teleprompter, and I'm very particular on who holds the iPad teleprompter for me. It's got to be somebody I trust. If it's somebody that I don't trust, somebody who doesn't work well with the iPad, then I would really panic, because it is teamwork. If the person is going to tap it twice and the words disappear, I'm dead. Right? Actually, there is plan B, and when you're live on air, you should always have that plan B, meaning you have that paper script with you, and you rehearse not only with the iPad teleprompter, but you also rehearse with the script in your hand to sync it with the words that come up on the iPad, and so that you know exactly in your head where you are on that piece of paper. Okay? So that's news reading with NHK. But then there's news reading with Morning Focus. I have a co-anchor. We ad-lib a lot. Ad-lib ก็คือพูดไปใส่ความคิดเห็นด้วย right? Now this is when you really have to know what's been happening in the news. Because if your co-anchor is going to play Mr. Smart, then he might say something and ask you a question, and you better be able to respond in a clever way, or at least not look so ignorant on air. So this is one thing that you really need to do if you are interested in becoming a reporter, is to constantly follow up on what's been happening in the news. Okay? So for those of you who knew that there are actually elections going on, or that there was an election yesterday in Russia, good for you. What's happening at Dongmun today? What's happening in Dongmun today? This is also something you should know. Not too far away at all. What's happening? Yes, they're officially reopening Dongmun. So Nok Air and all the other low-cost carriers can go back and operate from there. And Suvarnabhumi will be freer now. Not too hectic there. I don't know if I can find you. Sorry, bear with me here.
crows do not behave like a shepherd's boy. Now, this is the headline that you will see in Thairat's editorial, today's paper. The editorial cited the latest unverified claim made by the Thai spokesman Prom Hong Noparit that four groups of people, which include businessmen, academics, officers and media persons, were plotting to overthrow the Thai-led government by using the proposed amendments of the Lèse Majesté law as an excuse. The editorial said that this alleged coup plot against the government is nothing new, as Kun Prom Hong made similar claims some time ago when he said that coup plotters had a non-step plan to oust the government and that the group would be staged, or that the coup, rather, would be staged on December the 5th last year.
Now, despite the claims, the editorial said that the their defense minister, General Tutasaksa Prabhat, the current defense minister, Air Chief Marshal,
see, this is why they're looking right
he
in
was
the
asked
monitor,
about this.
because the words show up there.
This was total nonsense. The editorial also noted that it was strange that there would be no arrest made by police despite the claims. As far as the Democrats are concerned, the editorial said they treated the coup plot claims as a rumor, intentionally.
Okay, there you go. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but it's not just plain reading, word for word, but it's like you're telling a story. You pause, you stop a little bit, your voice goes up and down. Right? Now, this is something that you will need to practice. And if you seriously want to get into reporting the news, you will have to, or even, television commercials or radio spots. Do you want to do the voiceover for any of that? You will need to practice by reading things out loud. Yeah? And with this, not only do you worry about the prompter, but you also have to throw things back and forth between your co-anchor. Now, Kunpichai, he's mature, he's very experienced in what he does. He doesn't try to throw you these difficult questions on air, but you do end up sometimes working with co-anchors who get too smart for their own good. Okay? Who make these comments and you get a little bit angry, if you will, irked by the comments, etc. And all those emotions are not allowed to show to the audience. Okay? So be careful with things like that. There is a Kunwaranai, he teaches at Thammasat too. He's a handful, he is, but I do enjoy reading with him a lot. So if you do have a co-anchor, it's always good to chit-chat beforehand and make sure you know what he's going to throw you if you are not too confident being on air and having your co-anchor surprise you. Okay? Now, reading, you might think it is easy, but it's not for everybody, and like I said, it takes a lot of practice. So Ajahn John, can you kindly read whatever's in the news for us? Up front is good too, and allow me a bit of a break here.
So Ajahn John, he's a news anchor now for Salt TV.
And now over to China, where China's national legislators gathered on Sunday to elect a presidium and to set the agenda for the legislature's annual session, which is scheduled to open on Monday. A 170-member presidium was elected to take charge of the procedures of the 5th session of the 11th National People's Congress, or NPC, which is scheduled to conclude on March 14th. Wang Xiaoguo, chairman of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, was elected Secretary General of the session. According to the agenda adopted in the preparatory meeting, the NPC deputies will deliberate the government's work report and examine and adopt the draft amendment to the Criminal Procedure Law, a draft decision on lawmaker election for the 12th NPC, and draft methods for electing new NPC deputies from Hong Kong and Macau. power.
He is a natural. Ajahn John, could you explain to or share with the students here what you did there? I mean, it's not just regular reading, is it? So could you just share with them?
Yes, I think the main thing is to try to read ahead of the speaking so that you can see what's coming up. Because especially with something that's written like this, I think it's written by a print journalist probably. Because the sentences are very long. Normally when you speak, speaking is different to written journalism. And this is written by a print guy. So you get these very, very long sentences. So the trick is to try to look far enough ahead to see whether that little bit ends and whether the next bit gets on. And especially when it's long lists of things. So it's a case of kind of trying to read out the word that you're on, trying to look at the words that are coming up ahead. So.
Thank you very much. Now, that is a skill that a native speaker will be very capable of doing, is to read here. When you're speaking, the word is here, right? But your eye is already like 2, 3, 4 words ahead. That's going to be quite difficult for all of them here. คืออย่างนี้เวลาอ่านเนี่ยนะคะ you should understand what the content is. And therefore, if you are just starting out, you should most definitely read through your scripts. I used to read for Radio Thailand. I quit just last month. And I remember when I first started there, Radio Thailand News, I had to read the script over and over and over again at least 3 times. Okay? So that you are familiar with what you are reading. And it's not just being able to pronounce the words, but it is lacing all those words together so that the sentence comes out as if you understand exactly what you are saying and you are giving it the right tone, right? Now, that one wasn't too serious a story, but if you are reading perhaps the latest unrest or the bomb explosion down south, you might want to read it with a bit more oomph, more weight. So each story has a different characteristic, a different personality attached to it. Okay? You won't realize how difficult it is until you try it for yourself. Can you please look for something to read? And I'm going to ask you to be my guinea pig and you are going to read it out loud. เมื่อคุณมีโอกาสและคุณจะเข้าใจจริงๆว่าคุณจะต้อง approach มันอย่างไร This is where you're fiddling and you're looking for something to read right here. หาเอกสารหาอะไรมาอ่านเร็วๆเดี๋ยวจะให้คุณฝึกไปนะ It doesn't have to be too long. Look for